I kind of fell apart physically. At one point I had lost 50 kilograms and I'm 40 years old and I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna die like this. I was actually working as a dental technician for a long time, and there was this magazine called Halloween, and they launched the Kazuo Umezu prize. Kazuo Umezu is one of my favorite artists. I respect his work so much. If I could get that prize, it would be kind of cool. It wasn't about whether or not I could become a manga artist, but more just show Umezu my work. And I didn't actually win the grand prize. I won the one below that, the honorary mention. It was really exciting to have that. Work as a dental technician is actually pretty hard. You have to put in a lot of hours. My boss at the lab where I worked was very understanding, like a really great guy. When I would get a manga job offer, he would arrange my schedule for me so that I could take it. For a while, I was able to do both. I'm so appreciative to him even now. I started getting more and more offers. I'm trying to balance both, and it was just too much. I basically had no time for sleeping. I didn't eat breakfast. I would just go straight to work. I kind of fell apart physically. At one point, I had lost 50 kilograms, and I'm 40 years old, and I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna die like this. I just couldn't keep that up. Sleep is very important. Please, everyone, get enough sleep. When I was young, I really had this phobia of people in the human body. The scariest thing in the world to me was the human heart. I didn't find animals scary, although sharks are scary. But the human body was really a source of horror for me. The fact that my manga is body horror, I actually saw that on Wikipedia. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess, now that you mention it, yeah. Being a dental technician as an influence on body horror, I don't think it was really connected at all. But when I was in school to become a dental technician, we had anatomy lessons. I did develop an interest in anatomy from that. The most useful thing that I learned as a dental technician, and I carry with me even now, is I have a lot of tools for when I'm making manga. I'll modify them to fit my hands properly, shave a little bit off, take some sandpaper to it and really smooth it down and make it easier for me to use. That skill is carried over now. When I'm writing my manga, I don't think of the themes of the work when I start doing it. I get the first idea or an image of something and I think, that's kind of weird, that's good, and I expand on that little nugget of weirdness. And then after the fact, thematic ideas get slapped onto it. Oh, it's about this. So with Yo, it wasn't that I was writing particularly about environmental themes. Well, I said before that sharks are scary. If you don't go in the ocean, they're not that scary. But if they came onto land, that would be way too scary. When I was writing this, I actually was writing for a horror magazine called Halloween. It was for girls. I didn't have any fashion sense myself. I bought some fashion magazines as a reference. I was looking at this one magazine and there's this model. She's an attractive model, but there's something that was sort of like, It was something scary or weird about her. And she's a model, so she's supposed to be pretty. I came up with this idea of the character being a fashion model, but she's actually a monster. She was supposed to be more beautiful in my original idea, but she's mostly just monster. There's a lot of different kinds of horror. Psychological horror, monster horror, that classic kind of horror. I'm over 55 years old now, so I like the older stuff, that classic monster, where it's scary, but there's some kind of dreamy aspect to it. When I first started out drawing manga, it was my hobby. I was just doing it for myself. My editor, Harada, taught me so much about how to write manga that will be read by other people. He taught me how to write not just for myself, in a way. It really differs from work to work, how far I plan the story ahead before I start working on it. For instance, with Hellstar Amina, I did everything from start to finish. I did all the storyboards for everything. So the whole story was finished before I even started drawing it. Lately, I've been going where the wind takes me, as it were. I don't go all the way to the end of the story when I start it. And to be honest, to write it out from the start to the finish is not that interesting to me. It loses its sparkle in a lot of ways. So just do it on the fly, do the storyboard, and then it's, okay, what next? Where am I going with this? It takes the story in some surprising directions that it wouldn't otherwise go, but it also brings a lot of anxiety for me personally. Wait, if I do this, then what happens next? Sometimes I can't even sleep. That's the state I'm currently in. My first trip outside of Japan was actually to Taiwan, where a Japanese magazine was launching up a Taiwanese version. The reaction I got there was, I guess, diverse. There were some people who were like, why do you make these scary, creepy things? But then there were other people who were like, oh, it's good, I really like it. From there, my work was gradually translated into other languages in other countries. I was invited to places like China and places in Europe. Everywhere I've gone, it's given me such a huge warm welcome. I'm always nervous doing this, but when I get that kind of welcome, it really eases my nerves and calms me.